गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Ishavasya Upanishad, verse number 2, paragraph number 5. I think we started that and we have to complete that second verse. So we have seen that the second verse is talking about kurvanneveha karmani जिजि विषेत शतगं समाह एवं त्वयि नान्यत हेतोस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे. That those people living in this world who wish to live 100 years, the literal translation, those who wish to live 100 years doing the karma or doing the action, and in this man they have the arrogance, they have got the kartrutva abhiman, they have the feeling of doership, and so such people who have this doership, they should give up this doership, otherwise there will be no other way left for them, and therefore the Upanishad says, "Na karma lipyate nare." O man, let not the karma stick to you, and that is true, as we have explained in our last class, that karma is, before it becomes karma, it is activity, and activity is at the equipment level. Body acts, moves. Action means movement. The breath moves, the mind with the thoughts move, the emotions move, the thoughts move, the waking, dream and deep sleep move, the past, present, future, it's continuously changing. That is movement. Change is movement. And where is this movement? This movement is only in the untruth. It is only in the not self. And if you are considering yourself to be the body, then naturally you will become the doer. So he is saying, don't allow the activity at the mind level, speech level or body level, thought, word and deed, or at the Panchakosha level, to affect you, to influence you. Na karma lipyate nare. Because if it attaches it to you, if you allow it to attach to yourself, how do you allow it to attach to yourself? By taking ownership that I am doing the activity. Then it's no longer called activity, it is called karma. And karma has one rule, that when you do perform karma with an egocentric, desire-fueled attitude, not as an offering to the divine, then such a karma leaves a residue behind, and that residue is the subconscious impression, and that subconscious impression then propels the jiva to take life after life after life after life. And therefore here is a word of caution Remember, first verse was for the sannyasi, and second verse is for the person who believes, who wishes to perform. But what is that performance? That performance should be such that no residue is collected. Majority of the human beings, when they perform with this idea that they are the body, not only physical, they are the mind, they are the intellect, they are the decisions. See? And who are they really? They are the truth. So what is the purpose for which actions, if at all, we have found ourselves, we are not separated to our actions yet. I feel I have to do actions. For example, I have got my family, I got my children, I got my parents, I got so many things. Then how do I do it? Do it in such a manner that it purifies you. And when it if the attention is clear that you do not allow the karma, the activity, to stick to you, or you don't stick to the activity by taking ownership, and you take ownership of the activity by giving it value, attention, importance. When you give value, attention, importance, then you say, I am doing the activity, I am thinking, I am feeling. If I don't do, how will things happen? I woke up, I went to sleep, I had a dream. See? And this is happening at this moment. Now what to do? We can't do anything about what has already happened. Right now is where our possibility of change is available, at this very moment. And what is that? At this moment, what is happening? At this moment, the activity called speech is taking place. Then what should I do here? In your case, listening is taking place. That is the activity. Then what should be our attitude? That the speaking is going on. I am watching the speaking is going on. And if that is not possible, offer it at the feet of the higher. Therefore we said 3 Ohms, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. That was a recognition that now we are centering, we are integrating, no more extrovertedness, coming into the poise, knowing that everything is by that Guru Tattva, that infinite reality. It alone is expressing as this speech. It has got nothing to do with me. I am a mere witness of this happening. Then what will happen as a result of this? Na karma lipyate nare. Then there will be no precipitation of subconscious impressions. And when this type of life, because we find ourselves in life where we have to do activity, perform activity in such a way that the activity does not stick to you, nor you stick to the activity. You find that click within you. Then what will be the result of this? A point will come where you will become qualified, where your subconscious is purified, your mind is purified. What will be the purification? Extinguishing of desires. And then automatically, you don't have to wish, you don't have to hope. If you live, and this is the way we must live. And when we live in this manner, such a person then gets qualified for sannyas. Then when he gets qualified for sannyas, sannyas means renunciation. When he becomes qualified for renunciation, then he can follow the first verse. He becomes the meaning of the first verse, the contemplation of the first verse, the depth of the first verse. That becomes spontaneously, effortlessly available to this person. Why is it not available to us? Because we are too preoccupied with doing karma, with taking ownership. So here in the fifth verse it was told, Imau dvau eva पंथानौ अनुनिष्क्रान्ततरौ भवतः क्रियापथः च एव पुरस्तात् संन्यासः चोत्तरेण निवृत्तिमार्गेण एषणात्रयस्य त्यागः तयोः संन्यासपथः एव अतिरेचयति न्यास एवात्यरेचयत इति च तैत्तिरीयके. We'll read that afterwards. So what is he telling here? He is saying in this Imaudwa, in this paragraph, that there are two paths which were told in the Sambandha Bhashya. In the before the first verse we started, we had talked about the two paths, which is the path of renunciation and the path of karma. And these two paths are for everyone. In the path of karma, people get involved in activity, they want to do something for the world. See? And in the path of sannyas, they bypass this stage. Remember the four stages? Childhood, teenage, grahast, what was that? Balavastha, Yuvavastha, no, what was the four ashrams? Brahmachari, I'm going into a different. Brahmachari ashram, Grahastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. So, Brahmachari ashram is where the child is learning, studying, gaining the ability, etc., knowledge. He is discovering himself. Then he comes to Grahastha ashram. Now, in the olden times, as we told you, these children used to go to the Gurukul. And in Gurukul, all this was taught. Some were available, some were not available, maybe all were available, and depending upon how interested you were to that, directly proportional to that, your urge to know. And everyone is born with a certain propensity. So some people, after brahmacharya, after finishing their gurukul, after finishing their studies, they said, oh, the urge is there, so they get into the grahastha ashram, which is family life, produce kids. And if you read our old mythological stories, in that you will find, after they live there, they have carried out their duties, they take to vanaprasth, and then they eventually end up in sannyas. They renounce. So what was vanaprasth? Where you exercise independence in your living, no more dependence. Then what is the other path? This was the karma marg. And what is the sannyas marg? After brahmacharya, you bypass grahasthashram and vanaprasthashram and straight away land up in sannyas. Choice is there. And both are valid, no problems. Grahastha ashram is the foundation of all other paths. Grahastha ashram takes care of the brahmachari, the student life. Grahastha ashram takes care of the vanaprasthas, the elderly, or those who are on the those who are slowly moving in the direction. They have retired now from the grahast life. And grahastha ashram also takes care of the sannyasi by giving him bhiksha, dakshina, etc., See, taking care. They were benefactors who took care of ashrams, so any time a mahatma, a sannyasi, a bhikshuk came into their house, they never used to. It is where will he go? Will he go to a brahmachari who doesn't have anything? He will only go to a person who has the capacity to give. So grahastha ashram is the foundation of life, and therefore these karma margis think that how can I bypass karma marg, this grahastha family life marg, and therefore it's okay, it's valid. He needs to go through that hard work, but eventually where he is going to end up? In sannyas. See? And some people, they passed after the schooling, they straight away went to the sannyas marg. Now these two paths are clearly established in our scriptures. This is not, I am not making it up. It was given at the beginning in the Sambandha Bhashya. It comes. And therefore here, those who are following the path of karma, they have to work, they have to go through the difficulties. Tapna padta hai. Tapna means you have to go through the heat of challenges when you are working in your life, and then discover. Discovery is only if you are available. If you are available to what is in it for me, then you are available to that. But if you are available that this karma, this activity that is going on, it is for my purification only. So I am still attached to the activity. The only way I can purify myself is by offering this activity for the higher. So what was told before in the previous verse, previous paragraph, that we should perform the activity according to the Vedic injunctions, do the Agni Hotra, Havana, etc., etc., Japa, Upasana. And in this way, do not take ownership of the results. Don't expect the results. And when we do when we do the karma without any expectation, instead as an offering to the higher or as an expression of the higher, and we do it with joy, we do it with commitment, we do it with inspiration, we do it without complaining, one thing you will discover. You will get this vision. And what is that? This world is like a dog's tail. It can never be improved. Nobody has been able to improve it. Ayodhya, Ramchandraji came and went. Krishna came and went. His Dwarka was destroyed. He couldn't save his own Dwarka. See? Jesus came, he was crucified by his own people. See? And you and me are greater than all these people. Recognize the principle, and the principle is this world is continuously changing, and to expect that this changing world must remain a permanent one, it is impossible. And the earlier this conclusion comes in our bosom, the better. That this world cannot be changed. And that does not mean that we do not continue to work in the world. We must work, but without any expectation, righteously continuing to perform the actions for the greater good, but not expecting that the world must turn around in this way, or this must happen, or this must not happen. You do the right thing. What will happen as a result? You will purify. Who will purify? The Jiva will purify. See? Ego is nothing but the past and future put together. Expectation and guilt put together. Memories put together is equal to ego. Different ways they explain. And memories are nothing but subconscious impressions. And subconscious impressions were created because of you performing an action with a like or dislike. Your attitude towards the result of any action and dividing it into like and dislike, that's what precipitated the subconscious impression. Another word for subconscious impression is memory. The lesser the memory, the weaker is the ego. No memory, no ego. So by doing what is right joyfully, dedicatedly, as an offering to the divine, as the Vedas propagate, as the scriptures propagate, don't do it for yourself, don't do it for the world, do it for the higher, for the ultimate. And in that process, what happens? You start seeing, everything he is only doing, unnecessarily I am saying that I am doing it. And slowly, as the purification happens, uh, uh, the, 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 the seeker, he acquires the poise through karma yoga, so that and realizes that this world, and what is that poise? That this world cannot be improved, and eventually when this clicks in his mind, then this karma yogi now takes the path of sannyasa yoga. And in sannyasa yoga there are two ways which Shankaracharya has introduced, because we are doing Shankara Bhashya, so I will tell you. And what is that? First is the Vividisha sannyas. Vividisha sannyas is for a person in whom there is a desire to know the truth, but he has not known the truth. So what he does initially, when you will see in many places it is like this. When they go to an ashram or somewhere, when they leave home, they will wear white clothes. Retired people also wear white clothes. Then when they have gone into an ashram to study, they are given yellow clothes. Means now you are not interested in family, you are not interested in the world, you have already worked that out. Nothing can be done to this world. So now let me work on myself. Then what? You come to the ashram, study Vedanta, etc. So such a student is given Vividisha sannyas. He has not come to realize the truth, but now he is dedicating his life to seek the truth. And when he matures into it, then either he takes the ochre robes, which is called Vidvat sannyas, or in many masters, it does not matter what clothes you wear after you know the truth. But then there are other masters, they feel privileged to give such realized masters the ochre robe as a recognition that the fire is continuously burning. See? So in this manner, so when sannyas, and when we went to the ashram, many people, there are two types of people who take to sannyas. Some people take sannyas after having lived the life. They have jumped into life, like I was telling you, and they have gone through whatever the life had to throw, but always focused on the ultimate. And having learned through their successes and failures in life, when they come to this conclusion that there is no answer for me in this world, that is sannyas taken out of wisdom. It is not because I feel like taking sannyas, so I take sannyas. No, because you have tasted the world and you have come to realize. And then there are other people. One day they get up, I want to take sannyas. And they come into the ashram, they study the scriptures, and then they make ashrams into a Grahastha ashram. See? Then they have a Guru Behan, Guru Bhai, Dada Guru, Chacha Guru, Guru Uncle, Guru Auntie. It's all drama going on there in ashrams also. Don't worry. It's another Grahast ashram only. It is not ashram. See? So of these two paths, the path of karma and the path of sannyas. Path of sannyas was the first verse, path of karma is the second verse. Path of sannyas leads to the supreme truth. The path of karma must be performed so that we qualify, we recognize, we purify and come to the path of sannyas. And from the path of sannyas, then we merge into the infinite reality. Sannyas means renunciation. Tyage naike amritatva manashu. Renunciation is where everything is available, but you are not interested. When will this happen? Will it happen if you are wanting to satisfy desires, or you want particular results, or you want to improve your children, or you want to become a grandparent, or you want to improve the world, or you want to build temples, or you want to run orphanages? It's not going to happen then. You can continue doing all that, but nirlipt, na karma lipyate nare. The last part of the verse says, do not allow the action to stick to you, nor you stick to it. So here he says in the Nyasa evatya rechayata iti cha taitriyake, and then द्वाविमावथ पन्थानौ यत्र वेदा प्रतिष्ठिताः प्रवृत्तिलक्षणो धर्मो निवृत्तश्च विभावितः. So here it is told in the Taittiriya Upanishad, what is that? That only through sannyasa eva iti evatya rechayata. That only through sannyas you can reach the ultimate goal, ultimate truth, the supreme truth. Then in the second verse, second part, dvavimavadha panthanau, here this comes in the Mahabharata, and there Maharishi Vedvyas, who composed the Mahabharata for our benefit, because he knew that stupid people are coming in the future who will not remember anything. So he had to write down for us. So there also he has given the pravritti and the nivritti lakshana, the path of involvement and the path of withdrawal. And he must, it is a well thought out process. How can you abide in the ultimate truth if you are obsessed with involvement? If you are obsessed with desires to achieve something or the other. And what was the three things we saw? Putreshna, Vitteshna and Lokeshna. Desire for children, desire for wealth and desire for name and fame. If these desires are there, where is the question of contemplating on the truth? And therefore, even Mahabharata, it talks about pravritti lakshano dharmo nivrittascha vibhavitaha. So even the Vedas and the Mahabharata, so again scriptures, when we say what are the scriptures, we said it in the Sambandh Bhashya, Scriptures are the Vedas, the Shruti, the Puranas, the Smriti, then Mahabharata and Ramayana, and the words of the realized masters. These are the scriptures for us. So on Wednesdays, we are taking the Shruti. Ishavasya Upanishad comes under Shruti. On Saturdays, we are taking Smriti. Bhagavad Mahapuran comes into Smriti. On Sunday mornings, we are taking the words of the great masters, which is Amrut Anubhav. And Thursday evening also, we are taking the words of the great masters, which was a commentary given by Jnaneshwar Maharaj, who is a realized young boy, and his commentary on Bhagavad Gita. See? Mahabharata or Ramayana, Mondays I take Ramayana, but only we are reading, that's all. See? Mahabharata, maybe one day, if Lord's will is there, we will see. So these two, the path of involvement and path of withdrawal. Sannyas is the path of withdrawal, and karma is the path of involvement. These will be talked about more in detail later on in the Upanishad. So when we perform the path, when we jump into the path of involvement according to the scriptures, not according to how we want, but according to the scriptures, how they are guiding us, because the purpose of scriptures is only one: somehow bring your attention to the highest truth. And as I told you, the scriptures are divided. Vedas, the Shruti, the Upanishads are the Vedas, in which the Upanishads come. They are divided into three parts: the Karma part, the Upasana part, and the Upanishad part. Upanishad is the last, it's not the first one. The Brahmana part or the Karma part is where it is told how to perform action in life. When you properly perform action in life, just like when you have done your job well throughout the day, then you touch the bed and you go to sleep. Same way, if you have done your job well during the day with integrity, with righteousness, as indicated by the scriptures, doing dan, dharma, wishing no ill will to anyone, not expecting anything, not feeling regrets for anything, of performing whatever is being performed with inspiration, dedicated activity, as an offering to the divine, or feeling that the divine is functioning through, then automatically you will migrate to the next section of the Vedas, which is called Upasana, where your mind becomes more single pointed. Then, as a result of purification of this Upasana, then you automatically start having interest, a liking, a pull towards knowledge. And that is Vedanta. You want to know who you are. A person who is totally involved in the world, majority of the people, who you are, I don't have a life without my children and without my husband and without my parents. They can't think of their life independent of that. They are so stuck with relations that all thoughts that come in their mind are only with respect to that. Then, even though if that child's name is Narayana, still they will not see how Narayana or Krishna is expressing through that child. They will see how they have given the name to their child, and their Krishna, their young kid, is behaving like the young Krishna, teasing girls. See, he's like Krishna. That's pathetic. So, when we perform as according to the injunctions of the scriptures, then it is better for us. इत्यादि पुत्राय विचार्य निश्चितम उक्तम व्यासेन वेदाचार्येण भगवता विभागन च अनयोः दर्शयिष्यामः. So here he says that, as I said before, that that one is the pravritti marg and the other is the nivritti marg, and when you are doing when you are behaving or performing activity as a parent, for example, all you are doing is having a bhavana that I am responsible for my kids, I have to take care of my family, I have to improve the world, I have to give donation, I have to feed Mahatmas, I have to do pilgrimages. It's only a bhav, isn't it? So also nivritti lakshana. Nivritti is the path of withdrawal, is also bhavana only. And when your bhavanas are not broken up into so many wide varieties, which is in the path of involvement, compared to that, when you are in the path of sannyas or the path of withdrawal, your bhavana is single pointed. Your bhavana, your feeling, your focused mind is only towards the infinite. Nothing else is corrupting it. And in this way, it says, Vibhagan anayoho darshayishyamaha. We'll tell you more about it later. Now, the ignorance is being condemned in the next verse. Asurya nama te lokaha, asurya nama te lokaha, andhena tamasa vrutaha, andhena tamasa vrutaha, तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति, तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति, ये के चात्महनो जनाः, ये के चात्महनो जनाः. असुर्या नाम ते लोकाः, अन्धेन तमसा वृताः, तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति, ये के चात्महनो जनाः. So, those undivine abodes, we can say, those undivine abodes where you cannot have the darshan of Atma, where you cannot become one with the Atma. We'll tell you what they are. Why you cannot have a darshan of Atma? Because you are under the veil of ignorance. See? Therefore you cannot have. It is because the Atma is covered as if. And therefore anyone who is living in this manner, who is not recognizing his self and taking the ignorance or the expression of the ignorance to be as the norm or as the real, then they are committing suicide, they are committing atmahatya, atmahanan. Here is the used is yeke chatmahano janaha. Such people are performing atmahatya. Atmahatya is suicide. They are moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, year by year, killing themselves. And yet they don't know that they are performing suicide on a daily basis. every day, every moment passing away without recognizing your essential nature is a living death. We said that in the second verse, isn't it? In the beginning of the second verse. It's living death. So here he says in this introduction, Atha idanim avidwan nindartho ayam mantra arabhyate. Now we will begin the condemnation of ignorance. With that the third verse begins, and we have talked about the third verse. Now the bhashya begins. What is the bhashya? It says, Asuryaha paramatma abhavam advayam apekshya devadayo api asura steshan cha swabhuta loka asurya nama shabdo narthako nipataha. Asuryaha paramatma abhava. What is asurya? See, what is in our scriptures, non-godly beings are called asuras, correct? And godly divine beings are called sura, asura. See? So who are the sura? Where effulgence is there, the power of illumination is there, they are called sura. Yeah, Asuryaha paramatma abhavam advayam apekshya devadayo api asuras teshan cha swabhuta loka asurya nama. So here the definition is given. What is that? Asusu ramante iti asuraha. Those who are indulged in the senses. Okay, those who are indulged in the senses. And where are the people who are indulged in the senses? Tell me. In our scriptures, 14 lokas are given, and those 14 lokas are in our body only. The earth is the coccyx, the Mooladhara. Below that, till the toes, is the 7 lokas of the nether world. Tala, Atala, Rasatala, Talatala, Patala, etc., etc. And as you come up, Bhu is the earth. Bhuva, Suva, Tapa, Jana, Maha, Satyam. Satyam is where the creator is. Correct? And these are the all these lokas, all the 14 planes of existences. Loka is a plane of existence, plane of experience. So whether from the lower than the lowest, patal, to the higher than the highest, which is that the Satya Lok, where the creator is, all of them are technically asura. Technically asura. Why? Because they don't know the truth. Because they have not realized the truth. Because they are not available to the truth. Why? They are not available to the truth. Because they are at the sensory level. They are at the mental level. Brahmaji cannot do anything but create. Vishnu cannot do anything but maintain the creation. That is his job description. Shiva cannot do anything but destroy. It is by nature he is like that. See? So all of them, all of the planes of experiences come under, can be called as Asura Lok only. Because why? Everyone is at the mercy of the senses and the mind. Basically, mind is the sixth sense. So five senses plus mind, six senses. They are only at the creation cannot be possible without the mind. Maintenance cannot be possible without the mind. Destruction cannot be possible without the mind. So whether you talk of heaven or the Pitru Loka or the higher lokas. So here he says in the second verse, second paragraph, te lokaha karma. Acha, here one word which stopped. Nama shabdo anarthako nipataha. The word nama, asuryata nama te loka, nam, it's a just a filler in the verse. It has got no real meaning. ते लोकाः कर्मफलानि लोक्यन्ते दृश्यन्ते भुज्यन्ते इति जन्मानि. And in all these lokas, whatever is there, it's only because of the karma phala. According to your karma phala, you go to whichever loka you have, according to your karma, you go. And what happens after that? You think going from earth and wishing for heaven is good. You go to heaven, there it is, your desires are satisfied like that. So are you going to think of reality after that, going to heaven? Forget it. You will be indulging in your desires even more than the earth. Therefore, earth plane is called the plane of liberation. From here only you can liberate. If you go to the lower worlds, you are more sensuous. If you go to the higher worlds, you are even more sensuous. But the balance, somewhat balance, the possibility of choice is possible only on the earth plane in the human species. So don't wish for such things. But anyway, so let's see what he says here. So he says here that that all the lokas are because of the karma phala, and all that you do there is enjoy, 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 and enjoy. So if we are living in this earth, on this earth, and we have got all the freedom to buy any car, buy any house, sell any house. If today I want to think I want to change the car, some people will have to plan for 10 years before they have enough money to buy a new car. Some people, for them it's nothing. They can just go to the car showroom today and buy another car. See? If all your desires, I want to go to Alaska, I want to go to Tasmania, I want to go to America, I want to go to India. Thought comes, desire comes, and you are on your way. All your desires are getting satisfied pretty quickly because you have the capacity. So you are in Swarg on earth only. You are in heaven on earth. See? But all this is, this urge, this desire coming is bhoga pravritti. You are getting involved in desires only. I want to go to India, I want a new car, I want to see Alaska, I want to go to Tasmania, I want new clothes, I want the latest Italian leather shoes. And you have the capacity. For some people, okay, I have done all this enough, I have the desire to help the world, I have the desire to, now I will use my money to build temples, help orphanages, help ashrams. It's still I. Still desire. It's still bhoga. Bhog means you want to enjoy the name and fame by giving the money. You want to enjoy that if I think I want to go to Alaska, I can go right here. Like someone told me the other day, Swamiji, last year they told me that Swamiji, we are just taken a flight to Antarctic. So from Australia you can go to for a flight to Antarctic. I think it's a 6 hour flight or something. And the Boeing goes all over over the, not all over the Antarctic, but it goes up till there and then comes back. Okay. What after that? Now what's next desire? Now what's on my bucket list? So therefore, loka means the field of experiences, and in this world where indulgence and enjoyment, karma falani lokyante drishyante bhujyante iti janmani, where indulgence and enjoyment is the order of our life, of one's life. Why should we say our life? One's life. And as a result of this indulgence and enjoyment, the Atma Tattva, the constant principle, the Isha, is hidden. See? Desires are waves, right? When there are waves on the ocean, you cannot see the reflection of the moon. Is it not there? It is there. How can it not be there? But when there are too many waves on the waters, you can't see the orb of the moon. But when the waves subside, then you don't create the moon. It is already there. It becomes available. It reveals. Exactly the same way, when we have too many desire waves in our mind, bhoga pravritti, then this Atma Tattva is hidden. Achhadayati, that is the word. It covers, these waves cover as if. And as the desires subside, and this subsiding of desires is possible only in the human birth. So, you are already human, I believe. We are all human. So, we already passed the first test that we are human. Now the second test, that we have to reduce the desire. And the second verse told, Loka no dvijate loka. No, not loka no dvijate. Kurvan neveha karmani jiji vishetagang samaha. That second verse talked about how to reduce your desires by performing the karma, performing the actions in the right manner. And all that you can listen to it again or contemplate on it again and again. And don't contemplate it. Yes, you can contemplate early in the morning, but contemplate in such a manner that when you are at any given moment of the day, you are performing some action, isn't it, during the day, that knowledge which you have contemplated upon, that I must reduce the desires in my mind. And the trick, the knack of reducing the desire is 1, 2, 3, 4, as we told in the second verse. And keep remembering that. Be alert, be vigilant. Don't live in a default mode all the time. Spirituality requires alertness. Alertness outside, vigilance inside. Then, andhena adarshana atmakena ajnanena तमसा वृता आच्छादिताः तान् स्थावरान्तान् प्रेत्य त्यक्त्वा इमं देहम् अभिगच्छन्ति यथा कर्म यथा श्रुतम्. You see, andhena darshanam. So these blind, such people are blind, and they are blind because their vision is covered by the ignorance. Achhaditaha is covered, as if covered by, or in other words, you can say that they are so caught up in their desires and extrovertedness or involvement that which is always present with them, they are not available to it. So you can put it that way also, not available. So in this way, from when they say sthavarandhan pretya tattvam etc., deham abhigachanti yatha karma yatha shrutam, that they only believe that they are the body, and according to the karma, because they believe they are the body, and then from body what are they doing? They are doing the karma. And how do we determine who we are? Based upon our, not by our birth, based upon our karma and jnana. That's what determines, no, whether we are brahmachari, what was that? We are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or whether we are Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Only our karma and jnana will exhibit that. So when they have considered this tamasic body to be I, and they are performing the karmas based upon this knowledge, then when they are considering that this body, breath, mind, intellect, I am, and whatever they think, that loka they reach. Until where? Till Brahmalok. Here it says. So from here till the Brahmalok, wherever you, based upon your karma and based upon your knowledge. Okay. So people can pick up Vedas. I think 2 days ago, someone called me. Swamiji, I want to study Vedas. Can you suggest me which Veda should... Oh, okay. I can't remember. I have to speak to that person. I can't even remember who that person was. They said, I want to study Vedas. I said, what are you going to do by study Vedas? No, I have heard Vedas are very important, and Vedas are very deep, and Vedas are very this, and now my interest has come in Vedas. You think Vedas can be studied like that? And even if we give you the Vedas, like one person, he said, Swamiji, I want to know what is Vedanta. But before I want to know what is Vedanta, I want to know, have you experienced coming out of body? Have you experienced any siddhis? I want to first have a taste of a siddhi, then I will go to Vedanta. I said, okay, how does it bother to me? I tell you, read Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So I gave him the link. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, 572 or 74 sutras. He started with the first, second, 10th, 15th, 20th, 40th, 100th. He couldn't find any, how to get the siddhi, how to get powers. Then in the 3rd chapter, somewhere, then what various exercises you can do in order to gain some power. That is told. Now, that Yoga Sutra, in the third verse itself, is saying, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Highest knowledge is given. Now, you are not taking that, but you want to go to the third chapter. That means keep falling down till you reach the third chapter. After third sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it's all falling down because that fellow doesn't understand. It's the lower and lower mindset, then even lower mindset, then even lower mindset, then even lower mindset. And after 150, 200, 170 verses, then in the second chapter, somewhere it comes. Asana, yama, niyama, asana, pranayam. And today we have made asana only as the main crux of the yoga. Yoga doesn't mean asana, bhai. Yoga does not mean asana. Vedanta also does not mean karma. Vedanta means Veda Anta, where the scriptures have ended. And that is you, the Atma, the self, the reality, where words have got no entry, concepts have got no entry. Asurya namate lokaha. And as long as we are obsessed with this world, with our desires, considering ourselves to be this body, and based upon and having taken this body to be real, then all we can do is we have some knowledge. Knowledge is by way of thoughts, understanding, imagination, and karma, activity happening. Based upon that, some people want to go to the plane of the ancestors, some people want to go to heaven, some people want to go to Saket, some people want to go to Kailash, some people want to go to so many different places. But that is not realization. You are still moving around in ignorance only. You mean to say God are ignorant? Yes. From Upanishad. Now understand, I will not speak like this anywhere else, but we are in Upanishad. And Upanishad, when a student is approaching Upanishad, he is ready to bite the bullet. Does that mean, when I am saying that yes, that all the gods are only part of the expression of ignorance, yet I go to temples, yet I light lamp, there is no doubt in my mind with regards to that. So that click has to happen. And that click is, everything is that one, Isha Vasam Idagam Sarvam. Then where is the question of ignorance? Ignorance is only when you are at the sensory level, when you are I as the body, then you are under the spell of ignorance. Try to get out of this gravity, and the only way to get out of this gravity, as was told in the second verse. And many people in this world also, when you tell them that you offer everything at the feet of the Lord is alone functioning through you, the Lord is only speaking through you, the Lord is only expressing through you, it is by the grace of the Lord that the speech is there, that the thoughts are there, that the life is there. They are allergic to it. They are allergic to it. So don't be one of those. Don't make God an allergic factor. And when I am using the word God here, for me God, Isha, the transcendental reality is God here. I'm not talking about some Ramakrishna. And when I use the word Rama or Krishna or Ganapati, for me, they are expressions of that one only. But if you have that vision, then it's good. Then you will not feel that I should stop praying to them. See? So when we are allergic to God and we are addicted to our desires and indulgences, then where those indulgences can get satisfied, to that plane of existence the soul goes after death. Continuing. So according to karma and jnana, at the time of that death, they go to the various lokas. Now the third paragraph here. So we have seen Asurya, Nam, Te Lokaha, Andhena word we have seen, Tamasa Vritaha we have seen. Now it says Atmanam Gnanti Tyatma Atmanam Gnanti Tyatmahanaha. So okay. What does he say? Kete janaha ye avidvansaha katham ta atmanam nityam himsanti. Now, anyone who does or commits suicide or kills the self, this is more what you call more shocking rather than word suicide. Kills the self. Atmahana, kills the self. Anyone who kills the self is suicidal. He should be punished, and that's what we are getting punished if we have not known the self right now. What is the punishment? We continue to take the world to be real, we continue to take the body to be real, we continue to take the past as real, and we continue to live for the future. Lagai raho munna bhai. See, if we have not known the truth, the self, the reality right here and now, we are killing the self right now. One more moment has gone if we have not come to know, or we are not seeking it. Kete janaha ye avidvansaha. Who are these people who are committing suicide like this, who are killing the self? Katham ta atmanam nityam hinsanti. Those who are ignorant people, they always how do they kill themselves on a regular basis? These are the questions. Who are such people? And those who are ignorant people, how do they kill the self on a regular basis? Then the answer is given. What is that? Avidya doshena vidyamanasya atmanah tiraskaranaat. Because of the fault of ignorance. Another word for ignorance which will be helpful is self. SELF, big capital, apostrophe, italics, underline, bold, everything you put. Self forgetfulness. So are you remembering while you are in this interaction, listening to this satsang, is your attention on the self or is your attention on the words that are coming to you? That shift only you can make. and no and it's a shiftless shift. It's just a disposition. It's just a poise. Everything will continue as it is. Let the mind be involved in listening. Let the mind be involved in remembering. You stand apart. See? So here he says that because of the fault of the avidya or self-forgetfulness, the one अविद्या दोषेण विद्यमान आत्मना तिरस्कार कर दिया है. He has done. That means he has forgotten. He is looking down upon the Atma because he is obsessed with the form. He is looking down upon that which is without form. How much time do you spend thinking about space? How much time do you spend thinking about the gold as compared to the ornament? How much time do you think about the mud as compared to the mud pot? If that mud pot has been with design and it was a collector's piece, you will pay thousands of dollars, put it in your thing. But in the end, it is made up of the mud, and you stomp it every day if you get out of the house. We don't even acknowledge it. Therefore, our Sanatan lifestyle is the moment we get up, before we touch our feet on the ground, Prithvi Tvaya Dhrita Loka, we make a prayer to the earth. See, that is respect. But majority of us are living in default, without recognition of that constant principle that is available. Vidyamanasya atmanaha yat karyam phalam ajaramarत्वादि संवेदन लक्षणम तद धतस्येव तिरोभूतम भवतीति प्रकृता विद्वांसो जना आत्महन उच्यन्ते. तेन आत्महनन दोषेण संसरन्ति ते. So those, we saw how they are killing. Yeah, here it is told. What is that? Vidyamanasya atmanaha tiraskarana. We told that. Then Vidyamanasya atmanaha yat karyam phalam, and so on. He says that then what will be the result of our being the self? So if we are not looking, we are forgetting the self, or we are not even recognizing its existence because we are so obsessed with the body and the relations and the possessions, or we don't even suspect its presence. Whose presence? The self. When do we get old? We start thinking about the soul. Will I go to heaven? Will I be reborn? But it's too late now. Because you programmed yourself in a different way. This is the right time that we become totally alive towards the constant principle. It is the life actually. Why can't become alive to it? So here he says that when our essential nature is as if destroyed by being indulged in the world, when our senses and our mind and our attention and our value giving and our disposition is only to be involved in the world, taking that to be real. And that is also not wrong. I'll tell you one thing, that is also not wrong, because it's naturally happening. Your eyes are there, they are not there to close, they're most of the time they're open. And if eyes are there, they will see or not see. Two things will happen. Ears are there, they will hear or not hear. That will happen. So also with other senses. Same thing with mind. Mind's job is to think or not think. That is its job. Then where's the problem? The problem is, avidya is, I am the body is also not a problem. I am the body idea also is not a problem. Then what is ignorance? I am only this body. This is the problem. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagata. Drop this idea that I am only this body. Have this bhavna. It is a bhavna. It's a feeling. Feeling word is very, what do you call? It's a very limited in its expression. Bhavna is made up of two things. One is knowledge and the other is faith. Where faith and knowledge come together, there bhavna is created. So it is not blind. Faith is blind, no doubt. But now knowledge is coming. Initially we begin with blind faith. Faith is always begins with blindness. You are accepting your parents out of blind faith that they are your parents. You got no proof. You are sleeping every night with blind faith that you will get up tomorrow morning. There is no guarantee. You are living with this blind faith that corona will not catch you. But there's no data. It's only blind faith. But then what is knowledge? You are taking the precautions, you are understanding how you can become susceptible to it, how you can remain immune to that particular virus. So same way, when we do bhavana, I am the body is also bhavana. This is my husband is also bhavana. Divorce is also bhavana. Getting married to another person is also bhavana. Everything is the bhavana only. Faith and knowledge. When come together now, with what intensity that faith and knowledge come together will determine your experience, will determine your conviction, isn't it? Today's, for the older generation, marriage was a commitment throughout life. Today's children, marriage is not a commitment. The values have changed. For them, taking out the Mangal Sutra, oh no, it is a sign that my husband is near my heart. But today, young girls married, they go out, they keep it aside or they hide it. They don't want to show it. Why? They want to express they are single. Bhavna, I'm talking about. Don't get lost in the story I'm telling you. Bhavna we are talking about. So when we are having this bhavna that the world is real and I have to indulge in it, it is there to be enjoyed, it is there to be owned. then to that extent I am committing Atmahana. I am destroying the self. I am killing the self by not being available to it. And till today, by from childhood till now, whatever our involvement in the world has been, has it given us the satisfaction, contentment, tranquility, bliss? Have our relationships given us that? Have our parents given us that? Has food given us that? If it had, then we would not desire them again. The truth of the matter is that they have never given us lasting satisfaction. Now we have to recognize this in our life. Nobody else can do it for us. We can talk about it, Upanishads, what is given in the Upanishads, but until unless you don't make it your subjective conclusion, nobody can help you. No amount of satsang can also help you if we are not ready to change ourselves. See, there are two things: the readiness to change and ability to change. The readiness to change has brought you to the satsang. But after having come to the satsang, the second aspect, which is the ability to change, has to be employed now. So what the scriptures are telling, it may be shocking sometimes, it may be totally contrary to our way of life, it may be contrary idea presented as to our normal notions of life. Now instead of saying that Upanishads are saying something out of their hat, who knows who has written this, then you don't deserve to listen to, and even if you listen, nothing is going to happen. You are only going to bad mouth the Upanishads and get away, and tera tujhko arpan. But if you are approaching Upanishads with respect, reverence, and when we approach with respect and reverence to a teacher, to a scripture, then are we there to change the scripture, or are we there interacting with the scripture to change ourselves? Are we in a satsang to change the teacher, or are we in the satsang to change ourselves? So as I keep saying, my first student is my mind. So that is the ability. Now, don't try to do a big jump in your spiritual journey suddenly. No, start small things. Try to effect change, become available, practice. That, yeah man, I am again falling into this pattern, but there they said that I am the self. Am I forgetting the self? Okay, let me remember the self. Let me bring my attention to the self. So Atmahana, suicidal. Such ignorant people are called suicidal people, and by disregarding the self, they are subjected to, as Bhaj Govindan says, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jathare, shayanam something. And in this way, they keep going through the cycle of birth and death. They keep going through the transmigration. So now, what is the lesson that we have learned today? Asurya namate lokaha andhena tamasavृताः तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये के चात्महनो janaha. What have we learnt in one line? That the more we involve in the world, to that extent we forget the self. Correct that attitude, that's all. Slowly and steadily work towards it. And as you work towards it, you will start realizing that getting involvement, acting in the world is not a problem. Involvement in the world is problem. Owning the world is a problem. Reacting to the world is problem. Wanting to improve the world is a problem. The only place where you can improve is yourself. That is the only area that is available to you, not anywhere else. And here we are not even talking about, this is from karma point of view, but when we come to what do you call, when we come to the self, there is no improvement in self. You cannot improve the self. So this topic, this particular third verse, it was talking about avidya. And avidya is that because of which we are forgetting the self. Self forgetfulness, that forgetfulness is avidya. Self is, without the self, even forgetfulness is not possible. Remember that. And two things happen when we forget. What is that? First thing is we forget the spirit, and then at the same time, after having forgotten, we project. And what do we project? We project the world, and in that comes the body. And then third thing, what is happening? After having projected the world, out of that whole world, we have taken one body and decided, I am this body. And from that moment onwards, suffering begins. If you consider the whole world to be your body, then you are Ishvara. No problem. If you consider the whole world to be your body in the waking state, then you are Vishnu. If you consider the whole world in the dream to be your body, then you are Brahma. And if you consider the absence of the two worlds and you are still alive, awake to the absence of the two worlds, then you are Ishvara. That's simple. So where's the problem? We have taken ownership of the world by taking ownership of this one body only. That is the problem. Then how do I start expanding Ishavasya? Go back to the second verse. From second verse, go back to first verse. Because right now we are so involved in the world, so involved in the responsibilities, so much involved in Trump is winning or Biden is winning. So involved in are we going to come out, are we going to go into a recession or not? So much thinking, how will I get a job or not? Do I have enough money to survive or not? What will happen to Australia? And so many thoughts. As long as you are thinking like this, you are forgetting the self. But what to do? It is going in that direction. Okay, you will notice anytime. ठीक है. The world is like this only. Sometimes there is up, sometimes there is down. 30 years of success, 30 years of growth. Now suddenly everything has come to a standstill. Again, the growth will begin in a different manner. How is it going? I have got more time for satsang now, so more growth is happening. Inner growth is happening now rather than outer growth. You have spent 30 years doing outer growth. Think, it's only how you think. Put your bhavana in the right direction. So, if we are saying that such people are committing suicide because they have not recognized the self, they are not attentive towards the self, they are not in poise of the self as the self, what is the nature of this self? Which is the constant principle, which was talked about as Ishavasya Idagam Sarvam, which is the goal that which you are talking about in the second verse, that perform the karma and then purify and then from karma marg migrate to sannyas marg, qualify for sannyas marg, and from sannyas marg dive into the truth. What is that Atma? What is its nature? That will be told in the next verse. The verse says, Anejadekam manaso javiyo, Anejadekam manaso javiyo, Nainadeva apnuvan purvamarshata, Nainadeva apnuvan purvamarshata, तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत, तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत, तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा दधाति, तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा दधाति. We will look, I can chant. अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयो, नैनद्देवा आप्नुवन् पूर्वमर्षत, तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत, तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा दधाति. We'll look at what is the nature of the Atma, meaning what is the nature of the self in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a half a minute.